Okay, good morning, everybody. Real quickly, I'm going to make sure that you can see and hear me. So hang tight while I wait for my text message here to make sure all is well. If you can hear me and see me, shoot me a text really quick. Hoping we don't have any technical difficulties this morning because those are never fun. So give me 1 second here to make sure we are working. If you can hear me and see me, please send me a text. Okay, looks like we might be having technical difficulties today. Let's see. I've got 7 viewers. It says 8. I'm gonna try typing over here. If anybody can see me or hear me or see my screen, let me know. Okay, Amber and Paul said they can see and hear. That's good, okay. So I'm hoping everybody else can too. If you're having issues, let me just go ahead. Okay, so use the original link then. I'll delete this one. Good, Christina's having issues and she was the one who was gonna tell me if it was working. 1 second, everybody. Maybe I'll go post the link one more time here. Here's the emergency link. I'll go Facebook that real quick and then we'll get started. Thanks for being patient. I'm kind of rusty on this whole webinar jam thing, so give me 1 second. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, so, okay, Danielle can hear now too. That's good. Good. Whoops. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the PowerPoint back up. If you can't see the PowerPoint for any reason, it's up now. Shoot me a text and let me know, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, guys, for taking time out of your Saturday morning to jump on this training. I'm really excited to do it and hopefully add value to your day. This is KK, Kayla, me. I don't know if we have any outsiders on this training or not. I think it's mainly Team Fusion, so glad you're here. I want to start with a quote because I love quotes about learning, because you're here because you're eager to learn. And I love this. It says, if you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. So kudos to you for taking time out of your day to jump on this and be eager to learn. If you're determined to learn, you're going to go really far. And if you're not willing to learn, you're probably not going to get very far. So always plug into trainings, watch the microsite videos, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, and just always stay plugged in, because that's how you're going to grow in this business. So we're just going to go over some really simple, basic things, but I think it's really great for where our team is at as a whole right now, because I feel like we've all been really good at overcomplicating things. So we're going to talk about keeping it simple. So whether you're new, you're an advisor, you're a PIN level, you've been here 1 day or 1 year, this is gonna apply to everybody. Sometimes it's good to just get that refresher if you've been in it a long time, like I have. I need refreshers every now and then. So the first thing I wanna talk about is taking products daily. I think a lot of people think they can just get into Advocare and not have to use the products, but guys, that is just limited thinking right there. Our business is a product-based business. If you're not moving product out of the warehouse, you are not getting paid. So a big part of moving product out of the warehouse and helping yourself get paid is using them yourself. Because if you're not using them yourself, you can't expect anybody else to use them. That'd be like if you were selling a Kirby vacuum cleaner and somebody said, well, how do you like it? And you said, I don't use a Kirby, I use a Shark. Nobody's gonna buy a Kirby from you if you use Shark. So why would you sell something you don't believe in and that you don't have your own personal story and connection with? So use products, try different ones all the time, develop your product story, and that's how you're really gonna be able to talk to people, which is the second arrow on this list. Talking to people is the most important thing you can do in Advocare if you're here to make income. If you're not talking to people, you're not getting paid, because you can't just get paid using products yourself. I'm sorry, but you have to help other people use product as well. So talking to people is really important, and I know a lot of people say they're shy or they don't know a lot of people, but you can't let those excuses keep you from moving forward, because if you don't get out there and talk to people, you won't move forward in Advocare. So when I say talk to people, it really means share your story. You know, and your story is going to be different for everyone you talk to. And that doesn't mean you're going to make up different things for different people. It means if you're using different products all the time, then you're going to share a different product story with everybody you talk to, depending on what they're interested in. If you're talking to somebody who's interested in income, and, you know, like for me, our story has so many different parts, but a lot of people hear it as, you know, the broke 19-year-old mom who wanted to stay home with her baby. Well, if I'm talking to a college student who doesn't have kids and isn't married, then that doesn't apply to them. So it's probably not going to connect with them. However, Tanner was a college student when we started, and it helped us pay for his schooling without having to take out loans. So I might leave out the whole chunk of we're stay-at-home parents and focus more on the college aspect of our story, if that makes sense. So you always want to practice your story. There is a great video on your microsite about how to package your story. And I really want you guys after this video to package it if you haven't already. Pick a partner or get a hold of me, but I want you guys to type out your stories. I remember I was like a year into Advocare the first time I packaged my story, which is kind of sad, but my Uncle Brian was like, so what's your story? I was like, I have no idea. And he's like, well, type it out for me. And I sat down and I thought, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Because I used to just rattle off whatever I felt like talking about at mixers, or when people would ask me about Advocare, and I'd ramble for 5 minutes. But once I got my 30-second and my 2-minute story down, it helped me so much. And it helps you cut out the fluff. And I encourage you guys to find a partner to tell your story to, and let them be super honest with you, and don't be offensive or anything, or defensive, I guess, if they tell you that a part of your story needs to be cut out, because sometimes we need people to help us trim the fat. So get really good at sharing your story, because in Advocare, we always say stories sell and facts tell. So if you want to sell Advocare and move the ball down the field, it's all about sharing your story and what it's done for you. The next thing is use the success system. I have a picture of it up here in the right-hand corner. I'm going to quickly move through it in case there's any new people on here, but I think a lot of people just like to skip the success system, and it's a really important part of this business. And it's not called the fail system, it's called the success system for a reason. It is here to help you have success. So it starts out at the top with the one-on-one. When I say one-on-one, that is literally you talking to a friend or a person. Anybody you talk to, that's a one-on-one. You share your story and you invite them to hear more. Then you move to the two-on-one or the three-way call. That is you plus your sponsor or anybody else in Advocare that you think would connect. But that's you introducing them to hear more. So the one-on-one really is like when you go to a movie. Like yesterday, I took the kids to Finding Dory. And there's all the previews, right? And you're not there to watch the previews, but they kind of get you more and more excited for the movie. That's how the one-on-one should be. You're the preview for the movie. Then when you get to the two-on-one and the three-way call, that is them actually kind of getting like to the movie. So they get to see more, they get to see a bigger picture, they hear someone else's story, it adds credibility. You know, for me, I always compare it to like my brothers. I have 3 brothers. And they do not listen to me. I could tell them the sky is blue and they would argue with me about it, even though the sky is clearly blue. But if I brought in somebody else that relates with them or that they look up to or someone that they don't know and that person said, yeah, the sky's blue, they totally hear it. So sometimes talking to people it's really hard to try and convince them that Advocare is awesome because they're just hearing it from you. You're their friend or their sister or their daughter or whatever you are to them. But when they hear it from someone else, it adds that extra credibility and shows them it's not just you doing this thing, but there's other people having success with the products and the business as well. The other thing the 2-on-1 does is it eliminates the filters. I remember talking to my friends and family. I felt super awkward talking about price. I felt super awkward like trying to talk to them about this because I didn't want them to think I was trying to sell them anything. So when I got them on the phone with my aunt, there was no filters. She could talk to them about money. She could talk to them about their life. They'd open up to her. And I'm sitting there going, wow, this was so much easier than me babbling around trying to talk to them about Advocare. So it just really relieves the pressure from you and lets your sponsor do all the heavy lifting. So it's that's like my favorite step in the success system. It really helps move the ball down the field. Then you move on to the mixer. And a lot of the times people come to mixers alone and they want to know why no one they invited shows up. And the big reason is because they skipped one of these previous 2 steps. If you just are inviting your whole friends list to come to a mixer, but they've never even heard your story or don't even know what Advocare is about, do you really think they're going to come? Probably not. Or you've done the one-on-one and you've shared with them a little bit, but they're not comfortable coming to a big group thing about Advocare because all they've heard about is what it's done for you. So ideally, and everybody's gonna be different, not every single person that gets involved in Advocare is cookie cutter. I skipped a few of the steps, but you know what? It affected me later on because I felt like I didn't have to put anybody else through the steps. So ideally, you want to get people on the one-on-one and then the 2-on-1 and then invite them to a mixer to see more. And that really just solidifies Advocare for people when they come to mixers. They see there's more people in the room. They hear way more about the products, the safety, the credibility, the science, the business side. Sometimes that's their first taste of what the business is about. So it just opens their eyes a little more. So each one of these steps just kind of helps people open their eyes a little more as they keep going. Then they go to the large event. And the large event is something like if we did a BOM here, or if Bob Fergren came to town, or Deb Fisser, anything that is hosted at like a hotel room or has a special guest, or even just business opportunity meetings. I consider those large events or mega mixers where a lot of teams come together to put them together. Those are large events. And again, it's just adding more credibility and more conviction. And then the final circle in the success system is Success School. Guys, that is in less than a month, which is insane to me that it's already so soon. And I'm not going to give you the big Success School pedestal talk on this webinar because that's not what this is about, but I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least mention it. Success School is July 14th through 16th at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I have never missed one. I can tell you I've had every excuse in the book. My first year, I didn't want to go. I didn't think I needed to go. I had the attitude of I'm already doing great in Advocare. I don't want to spend money to go do something when I already know how to do this. I did not have money. I wasn't making good money yet with Advocare. But my aunt believed in me so much and cared that I went so much. She drugged me and Tanner there, who was not on board with Advocare at all. She drug us there. And I can literally look back on my entire almost 4 years in Advocare and I can pinpoint that first Success School is what really got the ball rolling for us. It opened our eyes to so much more. I love how Rachel Witt words this. It's like when you're, like for us, we're in Montana and we're just in this tiny little fishbowl. And there's a couple other goldfish that do Advocare and we hang out with them sometimes. And to us, this little fishbowl with maybe the little SpongeBob pineapple house, that's what Advocare is. And that's all it is to us when we're here in our bubble for the entire year. But when you get on that plane or in the car and you go to Dallas for Success School, it's like you're going to the world's largest aquarium. and all the fish are there, and everybody is learning together, and you get to see all the people you only see on social media. You get to shake hands with them. You get to learn from the best. If you want to be successful in Advocare, you'll go to success school. I know that there are legitimate excuses, like you're due that week, or you know, you're in a wedding or whatever. But if you can even get there one day, I swear it'll change the course of your entire business and your life. So if you want more information on that, get with me or your sponsor. We do everything we can to make it as affordable and easy for you as we can. We got hotel rooms booked way in advance, so they're cheap. We can help you find roommates to split the cost. Just get with us, we'll help you make a plan. So that is the success system, and right there in the middle it says the fortune is in the follow-up, which basically means you have to follow up through each one of those steps. If you get someone on a one-on-one and they're interested, but you don't put the effort in to get them on a three-way call, they'll probably not come back to you. They'll probably just forget about it and move on with their life. But if you take ownership of this and move them through this process and follow up, that is where the fortune lies. So always follow up. And then lastly, this goes right along with the success system, get yourself and others to impending events. I don't care if it's a mixer or a training or a BOM or a team family fun day or whatever's coming up. Get yourself there whether people come with you or not. When I first started Advocare, I lived in a town where there was nobody else doing Advocare. I was by myself. I knew nobody. Aunt Carrie, my sponsor, for those of you who don't even know who I'm talking about, she would have mixers at her house, which was 2 hours away from where I lived. And I would get in the car with my tiny little 3-month-old baby, and as she grew as well, I would come the 2 hours just for a mixer, even if nobody came. I went anyway because I wanted to learn and I wanted to grow. And just like this last slide said, I was determined and no one was gonna stop me. I wanted to know everything I could. And it fills that battery up. It's kind of like when your iPhone's in the red, you know, you go through the week or the month and you kind of get beat down by all the no's and life just kind of pushes you down. And then there's an event and you get to it. It's like when you charge your iPhone into one of those like hyper speed chargers and all of a sudden it's back up in the green at 100%. That is what these events will do for you, whether people come with you or not. So it's important to get yourself to them. Obviously, try to get as many butts in the seats as you can, but if it's just you, go anyway. I promise you it's worth it every single time. And real quick, while we're talking about events, if you're in the Helena area, there's a mixer at my house on Tuesday at 6:30. We're gonna start it, so come a little early. And then the 26th, we're gonna do Family Fun Day at Mountain View Park. So if you are interested in joining that, we're gonna have volleyball, basketball, if it's hot, maybe some water balloons or something. So we're gonna have a good day there. So those are our next impending events, and I'm sure Amber and Tess have stuff up in Havre. But yeah, feel free to post your events on the Fusion page so people know to get to them. Moving on, let's talk about using your tools. So Advocare is so amazing. And all they want to do is make sure there is literally no reason for anyone who ever signs on to Advocare to fail. If you don't have a sponsor who helps you, you still don't have an excuse to fail. There is literally no excuse that you can use because of how much effort Advocare puts in to help you have success. The microsite videos I'm obsessed with right now. They are the best training videos Advocare has ever put out. And if you're not watching them, you are wasting your time. You need to go watch them. They are going to add value to your life. And even as a veteran here, I watched them and I learned new things. Even in the Getting Started workbook, which is next on the list. I think every single person who is interested in earning income in Advocare, no matter if you've been here a day or 3 years like me, you need to go do this. You need to do the Getting Started workbook and watch the microsite videos and then teach every new distributor you ever have to do the same thing, because as we all know, this is a business of duplication. But they are great videos. I've watched a couple of the other sections too. I'm still working through them all. Next on my list is the business training. But they do a great job, and they really, really are short and sweet and to the point. They tell you everything you need to know, and they leave out everything you don't need to know. So use those for training, grow yourself, make it like a checklist on your daily activity tracker, which I'll get to in a minute, to watch a training video. The Get It Started workbook, if you haven't printed it off, print it off. There's so many tools in there that I love, and just like the simplicity of it, even the packaging your story piece, it's all just great, and it's perfect foundation for building your business. The daily activity tracker and organizational blueprint, I have a whole separate slide on them here in a second, so I'm gonna leave those. The Impact Magazine and the DVD, those are great tools, guys. I used to bring, I remember one of the first Impact magazines, I have it actually sitting right here. I used it at every single meeting I went to because I didn't know anything really yet. I was new. But I had a friend who was in that magazine, and I could take it, I could point them out, I could share their story since I didn't really have one yet, and it just helped people see more. And if you give that to them and like mark pages that you think are specific to them, it's a great tool for recruiting and products. The DVD is just amazing. If you are new to Advocare and you want to have a mixer, the DVD and the Plug and Play and the Impact Magazine make it impossible for you to have an excuse to do a mixer too. When I did my first mixer, I'd never even been to one, but I figured it out. And yes, it was a hot mess. And yes, I forgot to talk about things. And yes, I probably screwed up some facts, but nobody knew that but me. And I knew more in the room than everybody else, and it got people excited regardless. And every single time I did a mixer after that, I got better, because after I'd do them, I'd sit in my car and I'd say, what can I do better next time? What can I do better next time? And I'd work on it really, really hard. And now mixers are one of my favorite things to do. So eliminate your excuses and just start doing these things. The Plug and Play mixer, Tanner and I are even on that. So if you're somewhere that we aren't, you can put our story in there and say, these are people that are helping us, you know, which is cool. When you actually know people on there, you can say, these are real people. I literally know that because they're helping me. So use these tools and you cannot fail. So now we're gonna go over the daily activity tracker and the blueprint. And so these two tools are my two new favorites. I've really been working on getting back to the basics myself lately, because when you've been in it a while, sometimes you just get caught up in all the hubbub that really does not build your business. And you just step back and look, and every diamond and platinum and double diamond will tell you these are what they use. This is what they use still. 10, 15 years in the Advocare, this is still the basis and the foundation of their business. So I'm using these, you should too. The first one I'll talk about is the daily activity tracker. So when you print that out, this is a pay period. You can see it's a Wednesday, so the start of a new pay period, all the way to a Tuesday, which is the end of the pay period. So you're going to want to print one of these out every single Tuesday night before you go to bed, or every other Tuesday night at the close of the pay period. So when you wake up the next day, you can keep tracking your progress. And what I love about the daily activity tracker is there is nothing on this list that is a waste of time. There is nothing on this list that is fluff. It's literally everything on here is income producing activities, and it gets you in action. So what I've been telling people to do is print this off and the blueprint off, and on your blueprint up in the dead space, writing your goal. So maybe it's $1,000 a month by September, and then you're so that. So it could be, I would like to be making $1,000 a month by September so that I can pay off my credit card debt, or so that I can pay for my family vacation in cash, or whatever your so that is. And then off to the side, I have people write, I am committed to completing whatever number is in your head, activities on the tracker daily. So if you look at this list, it doesn't have to be the same amount either. Like if I said I want to do 4 every day, it doesn't have to be the same 4 every day. But the point of it is, I am committed, like I'm telling myself here, I'm committed to completing 4 items on this activity tracker every single day. And so when my head hits the pillow at night, if I look at my tracker, there's only 3 things done. I get my butt out of bed and I complete a 4th, because this is you and your purpose. And if that goal that you wrote on the side of your blueprint isn't strong enough, you're just gonna go to bed. So you wanna make sure that your that is so strong that if you get in bed and you've completed 0 activities for the day and your goal is 5, you're gonna get your tushy out of bed and you're gonna go do 5 things, even if it takes you till 1 in the morning. You have to be consistent with it. And I promise you, I've been using this. This is the first pay period in a really long time I've used the tracker. And for me personally, we've had 3 new distributors. PGV is great, like just telling you guys straight up. Last pay period wasn't a great one for us because I wasn't using these things and I wasn't doing income producing activities. As soon as I started doing this, I can see everything I'm doing. I'm in action. And I don't go to sleep without completing what I say I'm going to complete. And our business is definitely getting better because of this tracker, which might seem crazy to you, but it really works. So moving on to the blueprint. What I love about this is it's so late. It's first of all laid out really well. But if you are wanting to build a Gold 3-star to Ruby organization, which on average, Gold 3-star is about $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and Ruby is about $5,000 to $7,000 a month, or $6,000 to $8,000, just depending. This is gonna be what you need to map out to get there. But even if you're not like looking to the future for Gold 3-star or Ruby, getting this filled out is gonna help you meet your smaller goals first too. If your goal is $500 a month, great, let's get a couple of these bubbles filled in. If it's 1,000, great, let's get a couple more filled in. So using this really helps you see your business. And sometimes when you get on the microsite and you go to the complete downline report, you know, you see all the names, you see the volume, but it's hard for you to really remember who's underneath everybody and who's working and who you need to talk to. And I draw things out on my whiteboard too here, but this is just nice to have for each individual team member. So I personally have been printing one of these out for everybody who tells me they want income and reaches out to me and wants my help. I print one of these out for them, I cross out me, and I put their name. So for example, let's say Amber, I have Amber Turner over here. I have her name at the top. In the top left, I have her goal written down, what she wants. In the top right, I would have how many daily activity tracker items she's committed to completing each night. And then at the bottom, I have other goals. So leading edge, no limits, paying off a credit card, whatever your other goals are, getting to silver, you put them in the bottom. So you have one for yourself, and then you give one to me or your leader or your accountability partner. And then you have all your goals in front of you and this sheet, and it shows you where your business is. So the cool thing is, if you fill this all out with your working team members, and this isn't just for people who want the discount on products, this is business builders. So people who want money go on these bubbles, okay? So you don't put on the people who just buy a canister of Spark every 3 months. They do not count for this blueprint. It's serious business builders. And when you fill it out, you can see the blanks that need to be filled out. And so you see where you need to put your time and where you need to put the work. So if I had 2 people frontline and they each had 2 people underneath them, but none of the other blanks were filled in, that would tell me I need to frontline recruit more and fill in my 3rd bubble, but I also need to help those other 2 people frontline recruit and teach their frontline recruits to frontline recruit and start building their teams. So if you want more help on that, let me know. But it really, really is, both of these are great tools. They go really well together. And it's great for you as a leader if you're on here and you have a team. It's great for you to print these off for each individual leg of business. And if you do not have a team yet and you're getting started, it's great for you to get one of these started and send it to your leader and let them help you start filling it out and get your goals. But that daily activity tracker is super great to get into, especially if you're brand new. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about scheduling your time. So when I started Advocare, it literally was whenever I felt like doing it, I did it. And you know, when I started, I had Boston, and she was only 3 months old. So really, she slept a lot. She didn't move around yet. And so I had all the time in the world. Tanner was at work and school 12 hours a day. I could do Advocare all day, every day if I wanted to. As she got older, as you as kids know, it gets a little harder to do the things that you usually do. So I started working less and less. And then as I had Hadley and all that, I had this moment when Tanner and I were, oh gosh, I think we were Ruby or Ruby 6-star. I literally was working my butt off so hard. I felt like my husband was on the back burner, and I didn't give him any of my time and attention because all of my time and effort went into building the business. My kids were cranky because they weren't getting enough mom time, because I'd give them time when I didn't have Advocare, which is not how this is supposed to be. And it was my own fault that it became like that. And so I was feeling like a horrible mom, a horrible wife. I was like, I'm doing great at Advocare, but I'm being horrible with my family life. Like, I don't know what to do. And I talked to my great friend, Rachel Witt, about what I could do to change that. And she told me, have you ever heard of the highlighting system? And I said, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. And guys, this seriously set me free. I love this system. And even if you don't use highlighters, fine, but have times hashed out for your life. I got made fun of by doing this by my family, by the way, but I didn't care because it made my life so much better. So I say pick 3 colors. For me, if you look at that picture, and this was just a random week, but if you look at this picture, the top is pink and toward the bottom is pink, and then the very bottom I scribble in pink there, but you can't read it because of the black swirls. Pink time is me time. And when I say me, I mean my last name. So it's either my time, if I want to go to the gym, if I want to just relax, if it's shopping with my mom, whatever. Pink is all about me. Or it's also about my kids. So in the mornings when we wake up, I like to wake up, get my kids settled for the day, get them breakfast and all that, and wake myself up, you know? So I like to have a couple hours in the morning to do no Advocare. Then I have pink for bedtime. So this is my kids' bedtime. No, I won't do calls with you during bedtime. No, I won't answer my texts. I put my kids to bed. I love on them. I read them books, and we hang out. And then after 10 o'clock is pink again. And that's my Tanner time. So Tanner and I are night owls. And so at like 10 o'clock until like midnight when we go to sleep, that's when we just veg out. I don't do Advocare. I don't take calls 99% of the time unless someone really needs me. That's when we actually do watch TV or just, that's like our love language. Him and I just like to relax and watch our favorite show together. That's our favorite thing to do. But I'm not going to do that all day. I'm just going to do that at 10 o'clock when it's Tanner time. Okay. Yellow time for me is whatever. It's if someone needs me, sure, I can do a call. If I need to go grocery shopping, I'll go grocery shopping and do a call. If I want to take my kids to the park, I'll do that. And if someone needs me, I can help. But really my yellow time, which you can see is my biggest block of time, is whatever happens, happens. I'm available or I'm out just doing fun stuff. So that's my yellow time. And then my green time is Advocare only. So you actually, this one, I kind of changed my schedule a little bit lately, but Advocare only is from the time my kids fall asleep, which is usually 8 or 8:30 until 10. And as soon as 10 o'clock hits, just like if I had a job, it's like I punch my card and I go hang out with Tanner. So anyway, what I'm getting at is you need to schedule your time. You know your schedules. If you have a job, put those in here as no Advocare time. If you have a lunch break, maybe that could be your Advocare time. What I'm getting at is if you look at this schedule, you can see I don't do Advocare 24/7. The point of Advocare is to work less and make more, right? It's not meant to be a full-time job. And if you tried to make it one, you wouldn't be able to do that. So schedule out your time and be consistent with this. Oh, and have a day off, by the way. Sunday is my day off. I don't do Advocare. Occasionally we'll have a Sunday fun day mixer or a team gathering. If someone texts me, sometimes I'll respond, but Sunday is like my no Advocare day. So have a day off for yourself, guys. You deserve a day off. But this is gonna help you hold yourself accountable. I used to put in my Advocare time, and if nobody called me, I just wouldn't work. But the last 2 weeks, I've told myself, no, KK, you're going to work at 8:30 and you're not done until 10. And I sit in my office with the doors closed. I make myself a checklist of the things I need to get done. I get them done between 8:30 and 10, and then I'm done. And I feel so accomplished for the day. I get everything done I need to get done. I can do it all in an hour and a half. That's all I need every night to get this business done. And you have to be productive. If you do this and you say your Advocare time is from 8:30 to 10 at night, and you sit there and scroll on Facebook, your business ain't gonna move. And you're gonna call me and say, KK, the highlighting system didn't work. I just don't know what's wrong. Okay, well, were you productive with your time? No, okay, well, then you're probably not gonna move. And the other thing I heard Michael Smith say, and he's a platinum in Advocare, and he's just an awesome guy, is track your hours. And I know people are like, well, I got into Advocare, so I didn't have to do that. I would just track your hours. Treat it like a business, and it's going to pay you like one. So if your hours are 8:30 to 10 every night, you work an hour and a half a day. That's it, right? So track your hours, use the system, hold yourself accountable, be productive. I promise this will change your life if you use it correctly. So yeah, that's my time scheduling piece. And now I'm just gonna buzz into the last couple slides. And some of you might have seen some of these. I stole it from the Deb Fisser training, but I really felt like a lot of people needed to hear some of this stuff to close it out today. So we're gonna talk a little bit about success. People think the road to success is just a straight line. I'm gonna start this thing and I'm just gonna go. And there's not gonna be any issues because I'm determined and whatever. People just see success as this easy thing. But people who have had success can tell you that's not the case, especially in a business like Advocare. There's highs, there's lows, there's spins, there's turns, there's knots that you have to untie. This is what success really looks like. The saddest part about this, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse here. I'm gonna try this. Hold on, I'm gonna get my pen. The saddest part about this is people usually quit right here. They get their first divot in the road and they go down and they're like, well, that didn't work, see ya. And that is not how this should be. The people who are gonna have success are the people who go down right here and they say, okay, what can I do better? How can I improve? And then they start working up and they meet another divot in the road and then they start weaving through here, and before you know it, you're at the top. And then it starts over again. So if you're out there and you're looking at this arrow and you're like, yeah, I'm in that twisty, turny knot place and I don't know how to get out, you just gotta keep moving. Just keep moving, do all the things we just talked about, and you're gonna come back out at the top feeling great, and then you're gonna go through it again. So moving on, we're gonna talk about the 5 things to get you where you want to go. Decide, visualize, break it down, get into action, and never give up. So step 1 is deciding. And we always talk about purpose in Advocare. And I know there's a few people on this webinar that are super new. So purpose is what drives you, what motivates you, what's gonna get you out of bed in the morning, what's gonna keep you up late at night doing this business, what is going to help you keep moving when you don't feel like doing it. That is what purpose is. And you gotta have a strong one here in Advocare to succeed. So a strong purpose will motivate you, help you keep your priorities straight, develop your potential, and help you live in the present and erase the past. It just keeps you moving. It helps you keep moving that ball down the field. Even when people are coming at you and pushing you down, laughing at you, telling you no, you're having a bad pay period, if your purpose is strong enough, it's not going to upset you. It's going to push you harder. So if you haven't yet, or maybe if you're like me, I was talking with another gal a couple days ago who's been doing Advocare almost as long as I have. We were just talking about it, and you start Advocare with this huge purpose, and your purpose changes all the time. There's different reasons why you do Advocare all the time. And for someone like me, the reason I started it got accomplished. I'm able to stay home with my kids. And then I changed my reasoning to being able to bring my husband home, and I was able to do that. And then it was, building a house, and we've done that, and taking our kids to Disney, and now we're gonna do that. So it's like sometimes you sit there and you say, well, gosh, what's my purpose now? And you kind of question, well, what's going to motivate me now? For us now, it's others. We really want to help others succeed like we have, because we know what it's like to be beat down and disgusted and busted and broke, and then get to this lifestyle that we have now. And we really have a heart to help others do that. But for you, you got to figure out why you're here. And so if you're brand new, figure out what got you into Advocare in the first place and what you really, really want. If you're a veteran like me and maybe you've accomplished your purpose that you started out with originally, take some time and really think about it. Why are you still here? What's next for you? What are some really big dreams that you never thought would have been possible, or maybe you thought that happened in your 40s or 50s that you want to do right now? Really sit down and just think about it. Pray about it if you do that, but decide what you're really doing here. The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you figure out why God put you here. So next is visualizing. So vision is an ongoing, evolving, positive look into the future that stirs the hearts and minds of those engaged in the cause. So a lot of people have sight, but they don't have vision. They can see what's right in front of them, but they can't see any further than that. Vision is one of the most important things you can have in Advocare, or really for any goal in life, because vision is going to help you see things that don't exist yet. I use my house as an example. Tanner and I wrote out vision statements, actually, when we left Successful last year. I was on the airplane and I wrote out a vision statement. And it said, I can't find it right now, but the gist of it was, it's June 2016. We have at least started the building process of our house. We're pregnant with our first son. We're taking our kids to Disney World. Just all these things. I literally wrote that down. I put it in a drawer and I haven't looked at it since. But I found it the other day and I about burst into tears because I saw that a year ago. And if you fast forward now, we're in our house. I'm pregnant with our first son. We're taking our kids to Disney in 19 days. And it's all because I saw it before it existed. Does that make sense? Our house, I heard Bob talking about this and it was so cool to me. Everything you want starts as one little thought. Just one thought in your head, just a small thought. The difference between thoughts and what actually comes out of your thoughts is the action in between. So for us, it was like when we lived in our first little house, when we first got married, it was one day we want to build a house. That was the thought. When we started Advocare, it was a dream. We had it on a dream board. We want to build a house. Then we started really thinking about it and looking at house plans. And then we started drawing it out and putting it together. We picked the land. And then from our thoughts that we've had over the past 3.5 years, we literally watched our vision come into being. When they dug the hole and they put the walls up and they poured the foundation, we got to see our vision come true. But if we didn't have vision and we only had sight, our house would have stayed in our head this whole 3.5 years if we would have even thought about it. So point of this is you have to know what you want ahead of time and you have to see it. You have to let yourself see it. You have to open your mind. You have to open your heart. You have to look into the future and picture yourself doing and being the things you want. When I wanted to earn kids on the coast, I pictured myself on the beach with my daughter having a birthday party with her toes in the sand every day. I'm like, I want this. I'm doing it. I want this. You have to see yourself there. You have to feel the breeze of the ocean. You have to taste the cake. You know what I'm saying? You got to visualize it. You got to have vision here in Advocare. Step 3 is break it down. So I love the whole break it down thing. I'm totally a checklist girl. And so what I do, like I said, is I break everything down. If you want to get to silver, break down all the goals that needs to get there. There's a little, I posted it the other day, it's like steps to success. Look at each of those steps, but then make even smaller steps. If your big goal is Ruby and you're not even an advisor yet, it seems like a huge, daunting, scary goal. And if you have a huge goal that big, it scares you more than it motivates you. And I actually am reading this book right now, and I'm going to read a little part of it here really quick. It's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And he talks about the law of consistency, and one of the pieces of that law is starting with simple stuff. And he says, what is the number one mistake of first-time gardeners? The same as that of many people who approach personal growth for the first time, attempting too much. What is the result? Discouragement. When you attempt too much too soon, you're almost guaranteed to fall short of your desired results. That is demotivating. The secret to building motivational momentum is to start small with the simple stuff. Then he goes on to say, he quotes this guy, Ian McGregor, and he says, I work on the same principle as people who train horses. You start with low fences, easily achieve goals, and work up. It's important in management never to ask people to try and accomplish goals they can't accept. If you want to gain momentum and improve your motivation, begin by setting goals that are worthwhile but highly achievable. Master the basics, then practice them every day without fail. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. So, break it down. If you can't do great things, do small things great. Know your numbers. Be ready to adapt and adjust. Guys, we've said we want to be diamond every single day for the last 3.5 years. And I had it in my head, we'd be the youngest diamonds at 21 years old. Guess what? I'm 23 years old. You have to be ready to adapt and adjust. Just because we didn't do it doesn't mean we should quit. It means we still got a lot of growing to do personally, right? You got to know where you're at with your numbers too. You got to look at your reports, break it down, and be realistic about things. You can't eat the elephant in one bite, right? You have to do it in a lot of small bites. So don't overwhelm yourself with a huge goal. Set the big goal, but make sure you do really small ones working up to it from where you are. And if they don't happen the way you expect them to, adjust. Next part of breaking it down is kind of like what I was just reading. It's all about personal development. You have to work on yourself consistently. Actually, on that daily activity tracker, there was a blank space, and I filled it in myself with personal growth. And I'm committed every night. I read one chapter of a personal growth book, and I love it. It's really actually awesome. You should do it. This book is really great, and I'm only on chapter 5, but what I just read you was from the chapter I read last night. I'm like, well, that couldn't have come at a more perfect time. But definitely always be working on yourself. Some people don't come into Advocare born leaders. I definitely wasn't one. I always wanted to be, I guess, but I was super shy. I didn't like to talk to people. I didn't like to try and tell people what to do. I wasn't assertive. It's still something I have to work on all the time. But if you are willing to, you can develop your leadership qualities and pull them out of you no matter how deep they are. Because 50% of this business is personal development, right? So that's a big number of this circle pie chart. You also want to be more attractive to others. And no, that does not mean you have to be a pretty beautiful person to be successful in Advocare. However, it does mean, and I have to work on this, mom life here, when you go to the grocery store wearing an Advocare shirt, you probably shouldn't go with crusty makeup left over from yesterday and your hair not brushed, frowning and wishing that you didn't bring your kids to the grocery store today. If you're going to wear your Advocare shirt, you should probably go with a smile on your face and be nice to people and ask them about their day, compliment their hair. Attractive does not mean pretty. Attractive means somebody that people are attracted to. And you know what I'm attracted to? When people are nice and genuine and actually care about what I have to say and compliment me when they don't even know who the heck I am or smile at me walking down the street. That is what is attractive to me. It also helps you have more influence over people. People are influenced by you when you're attractive. So if you are wanting to influence people, you have to constantly be working on yourself and become a person that people want to follow. And then you have to repeat this with others and create more leaders. So we'll go ahead and move on from that. But I would highly recommend looking up personal growth books and reading them all the time to grow yourself. There's also on the microsite personal development videos, so check those out too. Step 4 is take action. And I love this. Action is the only action is the only trustworthy signal of life. And to me, what that means, especially so if you're on here and you have a growing team and you don't know who to work with and you feel like you're working with people that don't give you anything back, and they say they're doing things, but they're not actually doing anything, but you don't want to leave them high and dry. What I look at when I'm thinking of who I'm going to work with in Advocare when there's so many people is action. Action is the only way I know that there's a pulse from somebody doing the business. If they are not in action and they're not calling me and they're not texting me, then I'm probably not going to work with them very much. I'm going to check in with them. I'm going to let them know I'm here. But if they're not putting me to work, there's literally nothing I can do to help them. And if you're new and you don't have a team and you feel like you're not getting anywhere and your leader maybe keeps checking in with you, but you're not moving, you need to be in action. Your leader wants to work with you if you're willing to be in action and put in the work. So yeah, make sure you're always in action, and that's just the best way to know who to work with. And a good example right now is I just had a girl sign up a few days ago. She literally calls me 3 times a day, and sometimes it's just to tell me how her day is going, and sometimes it's to tell me all the people she messaged and what they've said, and sometimes she wants to set appointments too. But what I love about her is I know she's doing this because she does not let me go 5 seconds without knowing what she's doing, which I love because it reminds me of myself. When I started, I called Aunt Carrie like 10 times a day. Tanner would get home from work and say, "Are you on the phone with Carrie again?" And I'm like, yeah, I gotta ask her a question. And sometimes I just ramble about who I was talking to and what I was doing. But the point is, I wanted her help. I wanted her attention. I wanted to move forward, and I knew I couldn't do it without her. And so I put her to work all the time, even if it was just talking me through something or explaining to me how to get to advisor again, because it took me forever to understand. So put your leaders to work, but be in action yourself as well. And use the success system. I don't think I'm gonna have to go through that again, but definitely use it. And lastly is never give up. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. If you aim at nothing, you will hit every time. If you don't know what you want here, you're never gonna reach it. You just won't, because there's nothing to shoot for. The people who give up too soon are the ones that never succeed. That's really what it comes down to. People who come in here, there was a quote I put on actually the Facebook page yesterday, and I don't know if I'm gonna actually go try and find it, but it said, "There's never a reason to quit unless you never really desired to succeed anyways," I think is what it said. Even if it takes you 10 years to make an extra $1,000 or $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, how are you gonna do that otherwise, right? It's just all about staying consistent and being here no matter what life throws at you. If you give up, it's never going to happen. But if you stick with it, it is inevitably going to happen as long as you're in action. You can have everything in life that you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And this business truly is all about helping other people succeed. If you don't help other people succeed, then you're not gonna go anywhere. So that's really what I had for you guys today. I know I had one more thing I wanted to read you from this book, and I marked it, but it must have gotten flattened back out. Oh, here we go. Okay, so in ending thoughts, and yay, I wanted it to be an hour, and we're just about an hour. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. That means developing great habits. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, and that bridge must be crossed every day. Over time, that daily crossing becomes a habit, and ultimately, people do not decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. As author and speaker Brian Tracy says, from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to sleep at night, your habits largely control the words you say, the things you do, and the ways you react and respond. So what are you doing daily that needs to change? What needs doing? Maybe more important, what needs undoing? A bad habit never goes away by itself. It always is an undo-it-yourself project. So what are you willing to change doing today in order to change what you'll be doing tomorrow? In the end, hard work is really the accumulation of easy things you didn't do when you should have. So Do it now. Everything that you feel like you need to do, just do it now. Stop saying later. Stop saying tomorrow. Stop saying next week. Stop saying next time. Just do it now. Everything you want in life is on the other side of fear and on the other side of your excuses. And in Advocare, excuses don't get you paid. And sometimes people think that's super harsh to say, but I feel pretty comfortable telling you guys, excuses do not get you paid in this business. And it's so easy to have them. But when you eliminate your excuses and just start doing the things that you know you need to do and having that inner motivation from the things you want out of life, you're going to succeed and you're going to go far. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you being on, and I hope that you have a great rest of your Saturday. I would love if you got on the Fusion page and posted a couple things that you learned from this or that you took away for the people who couldn't be on. It is recorded, so I'll post that later if you want to send it to your team if you feel like it would be beneficial to them. But again, thank you guys for taking time out to be on here live, and have a great rest of your Saturday.